Hi everyone. So for the next few minutes I'm going to be reading a book with you. I'm going to read the first chapter, and the book I've chosen is Numbers by Rachel Ward. Chapter 1. There are places where kids like me go. Sad kids, bad kids, bored kids, lonely kids. Kids that are different. Any day of the week, if you know where to look, you'll find us. Behind the shops, in the back lanes, under bridges, by canals, rivers, round garages, in sheds, on allotments. There are thousands of us. If you choose to find us, that is, but most people don't. If they do see us, they look away, pretend we're not there. It's easier that way. Don't believe all the crap about giving everyone a chance. When they see us, they're glad we're not in school with their kids, disrupting their lessons, making their lives a misery. The teachers too. Do you think they're disappointed when we don't turn up for registration? Do me a favour. They're laughing. They don't want kids like us in their classrooms, and we don't want to be there. Most hang around in small groups, 2s or 3s, whiling away the hours. Me, I like to be on my own. I like to find the places where nobody is, where I don't have to look at anyone, where I don't have to see their numbers. And that's why I was pissed off when I got to my favourite haunt down by the canal, and I found someone had got there before me. If it had just been a stranger, some old dosser or junkie, I'd have gone elsewhere. Easy, but just my luck, it was one of the other kids from Mr. McNulty's special class, the restless, gangling, mouthy one they call Spider. He laughed when he saw me, came right up to me, wagged a finger in my face. Naughty, naughty, what are you doing here, girl? I shrugged and looked down at the ground. He carried on. Couldn't face another day of that nutter? Don't blame you, Jem. He's a psycho. Shouldn't be allowed out, that one, should he? He's big, Spider, tall. One of those people who stand too close to you, doesn't know when to back off. Suppose that's why he gets into fights at school. He's in your face all the time. You can smell him. Even if you twist and turn away, he's still there. Doesn't read the signs at all. Never takes a hint. My view of him was blocked by the edge of my hood, but as he loomed up to me, I moved my head instinctively away from him. Our eyes met for a moment, and it was there, his number. 151220009. That was the other reason why he made me feel uncomfortable. Poor sod. He doesn't stand a chance, does he, with a number like that? Everyone's got one, but I reckon I'm the only one that sees them. Well, I don't exactly see them, like something hanging in the air. They kind of appear in my head. I feel them, somewhere behind my eyes, but they're real. I don't care if you don't believe me. Please yourself, I know they're real. I know what they mean. The penny dropped the day my mum went. I'd always seen the numbers for as long as I could remember. I thought everyone did. Walking down the street, if my eyes met someone else's, there it would be, their number. I used to tell my mum people's numbers as she pushed me along in the buggy. I thought she'd be pleased. She'd think I was clever. Yeah, right. We were making our way rapidly along the high street on the way to the DSS to pick up her weekly money. Thursday was normally a good day. Soon, very soon, she'd be able to buy that stuff from the boarded up house down our street, and she'd be happy for a few hours. Every taut muscle in her body would relax. She'd talk to me, even read to me sometimes. I called out people's numbers cheerily as we hurtled along. 2142 nothing 19. 722 nothing 46. Suddenly, Mum jerked the pushchair to a halt and swung it round to her face. She crouched down and held both sides of the frame with her hands, making a cage with her body, clutching so tightly I could see the cords in her arms standing out, the bruises and pinpricks more vivid than ever. She looked me straight in the eye, the fury clear on her face. Listen, Jem. The words came spitting out of her face. I don't know what you're going on about, but I want you to stop. It's doing my head in. I don't need it today, okay? I don't need it. So just bloody shut up. Syllables stinging like angry wasps, her venom fizzing all around me. And all the time, as we sat there eye to eye, her number was stamped on the inside of my skull. 10 102001. 4 years later, I watched a man in a scruffy suit write it down on a piece of paper. Date of death, 10th of the 10th, 2001. I'd found her in the morning. I got up like normal, put my school things on, helped myself to some cereal. No milk because it stank when I got it out of the fridge. I left the carton on the side, put the kettle on and ate my Cocoa Pops while it boiled. Then I made Mum a black coffee and carried it carefully into her room. She was still in bed, kind of leaning over. Her eyes were open and there was stuff, sick, down her front on the covers. I put the coffee down on the floor next to the needle. Mum, I said, even though I knew she wouldn't reply. There was no one there. She was gone, and her number was gone too. I could remember it, but I couldn't see it anymore when I looked into her dull and empty eyes. I stood there for a few minutes, a few hours, I don't know. Then I went downstairs and told the lady in the flat below us. She went up to look, made me wait outside the flat like I hadn't already seen it. She was only gone about 30 seconds, but then she rushed out past me and was sick in the hallway. When she'd done, she wiped her mouth on her hanky, took me back to her flat and rang for an ambulance. Then all these people came. People in uniform, police, ambulance men, people in suits, like that man with the clipboard and paper, and a lady who spoke to me like I was simple and took me away from there, just like that, the only place I'd ever known. In her car on the way to God knows where, I kept going over and over in my mind. Not numbers this time, words, 3 words, date of death, date of death. If only I'd known. That's what it was. I could have stopped her. I don't know. Would it have made a difference if she'd known that we had only had 7 years together? Would it? Hell, she would have still been a junkie. There was nothing on this earth that would have stopped her. She was hooked. I didn't like being there under the bridge with Spider. I know it was outside, but I felt closed in, trapped with him. He filled the space with his gangly arms and legs, constantly moving and twitching. Almost, and that smell. I ducked past him and out onto the towpath. Where are you going? He shouted behind me, his voice booming off the concrete walls. Just walking, I mumbled. Right, he said, catching up with me. Walk and talk, he said, walk and talk. Drawing level, too close to my shoulders brushing against me, I carried on, head down, hood up, a blinkered patch of gravel and rubbish moving under my trainers. He lopped along beside me. We must have looked so stupid, me being a small for a 15-year-old, and him like a black giraffe on speed. He tried to chat a bit, and I just ignored him, hoping he'd give up and go away. No chance, reckon you'd have to tell him to piss off to get rid of him, and even then he probably wouldn't. So, you're new around here, yeah? I shrugged. Got kicked out your old school? Been a bad girl, yeah? Kicked out of school, kicked out of my last home, and the one before that, and the one before that. People just don't seem to get me. Don't understand that I need a bit of space. Always telling me what to do. They think the rules and the routine and clean hands and minding your P's and Q's will make everything all right. But they haven't got a clue. He reached into his pocket. Do you want a fag? I've got some. Look. I stopped and watched as he extracted a crumpled packet. Go on then. He handed me a cigarette and flicked his lighter for me. I leaned forward and inhaled until it caught, drawing in some of his stink at the same time. I moved back quickly and breathed out again. Tar, I mumbled. He drew on his fag like it was the best thing on earth, then blew the smoke out theatrically and smiled. And I thought, less than 3 months to go, that's all. All this poor bugger's got is skiving off school and having a smoke by the canal. Now what do you call that for a life? I sat down on a heap of old railway sleepers. The nicotine made me feel less edgy, but nothing calmed Spider down. He was up and down, climbing on the steepers, leaping off, balancing on the edge of the canal, on the balls of his feet and jumping back again. I thought to myself, that's how he'll go, the silly sod, jumping off something and breaking his bloody neck. Don't you ever keep still? I said. Nah, I'm not a statue, not a waxwork like Madame Two Swords. I've got all this energy, man. And he did a little dance there on the towpath, which made me smile. I couldn't help it. It felt like the first time in years, and he grinned back at me. You've got a nice smile, he said. And that did it. I don't like personal comments. Fuck off, Spider, I said. Just fuck off. Relax, man. I didn't mean nothing by it. Yeah, well, I don't like it. You don't like looking at people neither, do you? I shrugged. People think you up yourself the way you keep looking down. Don't look no one in the eye. Well, that's personal too. I've got reasons. He turned and kicked a stone into the canal. Whatever. Listen, I'll never say anything nice to you again, okay? Okay, I said. There were alarm bells going off inside my head. Part of me wanted this more than anything else in the world, to have someone to hang out with, be like everyone else for a while. The rest of me screamed to get the hell out of there, not to get sucked in. You get used to someone, then start to like them. Then even they leave. In the end, everyone leaves. I looked at him, jiggling restlessly from foot to foot, now scooping up some stones and chucking them into the water. Don't go there, Jem, I thought. In a few months, he'll be gone. While his back was turned, I got up quietly from my perch on the sleepers and started running. No explanations, no goodbyes. From behind me, I could hear him calling, Hey, where you going? I was willing him to say, stay there and not follow. His voice faded away as I put some distance between us. Okay, be like that. See you tomorrow, man. So that was chapter 1 of the first book called Numbers by Rachel Ward. And if you do want to continue and find out what happens with Jem and Spider, if you see Mr. Chambers in the library, he's got some copies up there.